Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's your boy Ray Money, and welcome to another episode of Moneyyy Talks. And on this episode, I will be giving y'all another crazy story time. Now, in this story time, I'll be talking about how Chicago rapper Lil Zay Osama had set me up to get robbed, and I ended up getting shot.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Moneyyy Talks.
Here comes the money.
Everything I'm about to say in this video is 100% public information. I am not incriminating nobody. All this information has been out on the internet for years. I got other interviews on multiple other platforms telling the same story, but I never told it on my own platform, and I never told it like this. So please tune in. This is about to be a crazy story. All right, so let me talk about how Chicago rapper Lil Zay Osama had set me up to shoot a music video for him and tried to have one of his homies rob me. And I ended up defending myself, and the robber ended up getting killed in self-defense. All right, so the story starts, I want to say a couple weeks before December 30th, which was the day that it happened, December 30th, 2016. I had one of my old homies from high school, which we're not really cool no more, obviously, since this situation happened. But at the time, I considered him one of my homies. Lil Zay was his cousin, and he's the first person that hit me up like, yo, my cousin named Lil Zay, he want to work with you or whatever. And man, around this time, December 30th, 2016, around this time frame, Lil Zay Osama was not like a well-known name in Chicago as far as like being a Chicago rapper. He was still on the come up. He was not famous yet. So I didn't really know too much about him at the time. You know, I just knew that, you know, this is my homie. You know, somebody I thought was my homie. He like, yeah, this is my cousin, man. He want to work with you. He like, man, I'm gonna be there at the video shoot, bro. You good? You ain't got nothing to worry about. So the reason why I even went to go work with Lil Zay was off the word of somebody else that I trusted. You know what I'm saying? That's why they always say you trust none, because anybody will set you up. You know, and this was somebody that I used to pull up on all the time, and you know, so we would chill, smoke, and he knew how I was coming at the time. Like, he knew that I carried a gun on me, and so I always used to wonder, like, why would he send me up the river like that? He knew how I was coming already. He knew that I was for none. He already knew that I kept a gun on me everywhere I went. So it's like, why set me up, you know? But yeah, he had introduced me to his cousin. Like, man, my cousin Lil Zay, he want to work with you or whatever. So Lil Zay eventually ended up hitting me up on Twitter. You know, he reached out to me on Twitter like, yo, trying to work, you know? And I'm like, around this time, I wasn't to get a video for me, you had to send a deposit, you know, so you had to send a $500 deposit, because I had got robbed a year before that at gunpoint. I didn't get a deposit, you know what I'm saying? I just pulled up off the guy's word, off them once again telling me like, yo, we know somebody else, we know so and so, we trying to work, and I just went off their word and they ended up getting robbed. So that's why I ended up eventually started carrying a gun with me everywhere I went, and that's why when Lil Zay set me up, I reacted the way I reacted, because I had already been traumatized from the first time I got robbed, and I wasn't going no more, you know? Yeah, Lil Zay hit me up on Twitter, and he like, man, let's work. And I used to tell him, like, yo, we can work, bro, but you gotta send me a deposit, you know? And he like, man, I would send a deposit, but I only got cash and I'm on house arrest, so like, I can't really send it, but you could pull up and get it, you know? So that was the first red flag. But you know, being that, like I said, my homie at the time had kind of like told me like, man, bro, you good, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I didn't think too much of it. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll just pull up and get the bread, you know? So the day eventually ended up coming, December 30th, he hit me up, he sent me the location. It was on 82nd and Ingleside, you know, over east. The clique that control that area is called Brain Dead. Y'all probably know that area is called Brain Dead if you're from Chicago. So I pulled up, man, y'all, like I said, I had a gun on me, because at this time, I wasn't going to no video shoots without no gun, because I had already got robbed before that at gunpoint. I never wanted to feel like a victim again, you know what I'm saying? I never wanted to feel helpless. I never wanted to feel like I couldn't help myself or defend myself ever again. So after I got robbed that first time, I started going everywhere with a gun. Literally, let me say this, my firearm was legal. You know, I didn't have a concealed carry at the time, but I was still carrying it illegally, because without concealed carry, you're not supposed to carry it. If you got a FOIA card, you're not supposed to carry your gun without having concealed carry. But at the time, I'm looking at it like, hey, I'd rather be judged by 12 than 6. But yeah, I'm like, whatever. I was just carrying my gun everywhere with the FOIA card. But I was just being real careful. But at the time, when Zay hit me up and I pulled up, I met him in front of this this big old, it was like an apartment building with a courtyard. If you know Chicago over East, you know Chicago East got a lot of courtyard buildings where it's like it looked like off New Jack City, the Carter, bro. It looked like that. But I met Lil Zay in front of the building. And he like, man, bro, what's up, bro? Ooh, everything cool? He like, what's up, bro? Yeah, man, we gonna shoot a video upstairs. Ooh, I'm like, all right, cool. So he proceeded to lead me into the building. So I'm behind Lil Zay, man. I got a book bag on. I got a book bag, my camera bag. I got a big duffel bag full of lights and other equipment like this big slung over my shoulder. And I'm just by myself. So he basically told me like, yeah, we're gonna shoot upstairs. So he lead me into the apartment building, but he's in front of me. So obviously he walk in first, you know? So as he walks in, I'm behind him. But you know, at this time of my life, I was dealing with PTSD from getting robbed the first time. So I kind of was real cautious wherever I went. Like I always had I went into every situation or every video shoot thinking the worst, to be prepared for the worst, you know what I'm saying? So when Lil Zay walked into the door of the apartment building, right before I'm finna walk in behind him, I'll never forget this little voice in my head said, get ready, be ready. So when that little voice told me that, I had my gun on my hip, you know what I'm saying? It was on my hip. I just dropped my hand by my waistline. So, you know, when I opened the door, my hand would already be by my gun. But I wasn't really thinking nothing was gonna happen because like I said, I was going into every situation real cautious and thinking the worst. So I'm just thinking this is just another time where I'm just, you know what I'm saying, overthinking, you know. But as soon as I open the door and walk into the hallway, I see Lil Zay feet walking up the stairs. Like I just see him because he was ahead of me, you know, so he's already walking up the stairs going to where we were supposed to go. So I walk in a little bit more, and like soon as I walk in, somebody comes around the corner with a gun already pointed at me, like F this video shoot, you know. And the moment he came out with his gun, I just reacted, you know, because I had prepared for this moment. You know, I had prepared for the moment where somebody would try to rob me again. So I had already been going to the gun range, practicing drawing from my waistband, practicing pulling from my waistband. So I was prepared for somebody to trap me again. And that day, that's exactly what happened. So when he came out with the gun, I instantly drew my gun. And as I went to draw my gun, he started shooting, obviously. And man, we probably was only like, I want to say we was probably like 7 yards from each other, so it was very close quarters. We was in the hallway. So as I go to reach for my gun, he starts shooting. I'm already pulling my gun out and I'm shooting. Cause like I said, I practice this. I'm real fast with my draw. I'm real fast with my trigger finger, you know. So as he's shooting, I get to shoot. I feel the impact of the bullet hit me in my hip. Boom, I felt it. But while all this is going on, I'm shooting at the same time. And then I'll never forget, I remember his body dropping. The robber. I remember his body just dropped, like in the middle of the shootout. His body just dropped like this rag. It was like, that's how it felt. And I'll never forget that image. Even as I'm talking to y'all right now, I see that imagery in my mind. Like that's something I'll never be able to forget. Like his body dropping, you know what I'm saying? Because it was like God flipped the switch and lights off, you know what I'm saying? And at the time, I didn't really process like, oh, I just killed somebody, or oh, I just shot him in the head. I wasn't thinking none of that. All I was thinking was, okay, the threat is no more. He's not a threat no more. I need to find help. You know what I'm saying? I need to find help, but also I need to be aware of more threats. So, because people always ask me all the time, like, man, what happened after you got shot? Did you just fall down? And no, I didn't just fall down, because in my mind, I know Lil Zay is still somewhere, and I don't know if he got a gun, and I know it's probably more guys up there. I don't know if they got guns, so I was still in attack mode. Like after I got shot, I still had my gun out, and I was still like, even though I knew like it's time for me to find help, I was still prepared if I had to use my gun some more to protect my life, you know. So after I got shot and I see him laying there or whatever, he's no more threat. Okay, it's time to find help. I had the big bag swung over my shoulder. I just dropped that with all my equipment. But I kept my camera bag on me because in my mind, I'm thinking like, hey, I'm not dropping my camera. I'm not dropping my camera. This motherfucker staying with me. I don't give a fuck if I'm shot or not, you know? But the lights, I'm like, hey, that's little shit. Fuck them lights, you know? So I walk out the building and I instantly like, I'm looking for help. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for help. Like, man, I'm trying to find somebody to call 911. So I walk across the street from where I got shot at, and I remember it was some movers, like it was some two Hispanic men that was helping somebody move in their apartment, and I remember I just walked up on them. I walked up on them with my gun in my hand, which wasn't a good idea at the time, obviously, but I wasn't really thinking straight. I walked up on them with my gun in my hand. I'm like, yo, can you call the police? You know, can you call the police? I just got shot. And as soon as they turn around and they see me, they just see me walking up with a gun. They instantly like panic and like just shut the door in my face. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, fuck, what the fuck? I'm all right, whatever. I'm finna just call it myself. So I tried to dial 911, and I'll never forget when I called 911, it didn't go through. The line was busy. It was crazy. Like, I'm like, what? So when the line didn't go through, now my adrenaline's starting to go down. So now I get real weak. So now I pass out on the ground. Like I fall out on the ground. So I get up, I lean back up, and I used like a little bit of strength that I had left. I look back at my call log. Since 911 wasn't working, I went to my recent calls and I just called my right hand man, so my homie Jed. I called him like, yo, I just got shot. He like, what? As soon as I heard what, I just get so weak and I just fall on the ground even more. And now I'm just sitting on the ground squirming. I'm getting hot. I'm getting so hot. Now at this point in time, now I know I'm dying. Like I could feel the life draining out my body. Like it was so crazy. Like I'm sitting there thinking in my head, like, wow, so this is how I die. So this is how I'm gonna die. Like this is crazy. This is really happening. Like I really just got shot. Like I'm thinking all this in my head. Now while all this is going on, now people that live outside is starting to come outside because the police done pulled up now by this time. But obviously in Chicago, when you get shot, the ambulance don't come straight to you. The police gotta secure the scene first before the ambulance get there. So the police is already there, but there's nothing they can do to help me because they gotta wait till the ambulance get there. So now people's coming outside, people starting to surround me while I'm laying on the ground. People surrounding me, recording me, bleeding out on their phone. And it was fucking my head up because I'm like, bro, what are y'all recording? Like, why are y'all recording me for? Like, you know, I'm literally sitting here dying. Like, I'm sitting feeling the life drain out my body. And I always tell people, how does it feel when you die? When you're dying, you just feel real weak and sleepy. You know what I'm saying? You feel like you just want to lay down and go to sleep. But if you go to sleep, your ass not gonna wake up, buddy. But, you know, dying, that feeling is a feeling you don't want to feel. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, it's a real draining feeling. You know what I'm saying? And while I was sitting there dying, in my head, I'm thinking like, man, the ambulance need to get here as soon as possible because if it doesn't, I don't know how long I got, you know? But eventually the ambulance did pull up. It pulled up and they ended up taking me to a stroke hospital. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. I had 5 blood transfusions. I was in an induced coma for 2 days. I had a splint because I had kidney damage, so I had a splint inside my penis, inside my body that had to get removed through my penis before I left the hospital. My stomach had got cut open, so my intestines were shut down for 2 weeks, so I wasn't able to eat or drink any food or any liquids for 2 weeks straight while I was in the hospital. So I literally went from 180 pounds to 160. I lost 20 pounds in 2 weeks from not eating, you know, and I could barely walk. I had to learn how to walk again. It took me 2 weeks of being in the hospital before I learned how to walk again, you know. So I went through a lot of traumatic experiences with that situation, you know what I'm saying? Like that situation had a profound effect on my life and it changed my life, you know. So that was a real crazy thing that happened to me, you know. And a lot of people always tell me like I'm blessed to be alive, you know. And the police was telling me that too because they like, don't you know that you drew your gun on a drawn gun? Like you're not supposed to be here. Like he was supposed to kill you, you know what I'm saying? And I always say like they teach you in any type of firearm classes to never draw your firearm on somebody that has a firearm drawn on you. Meaning like never pull your gun out on somebody that has a gun already pointed at you, because all they gotta do is pull the trigger. You feel me? So essentially all he had to do when he came around the corner was pull the trigger, and I should have been dead, you know? But obviously he wasn't a good shot, you know, and my training is what helped me be prepared. So I always tell people like, don't just get a gun to have a gun. Get a gun and know how to use it. Get a gun and go to the gun range and practice shooting, practice target shooting, practice rapid firing shooting. You know what I'm saying? Practice being able to pull your firearm from your waistband. Not even just at the range. When you at home, like that's another thing that I taught myself to be prepared. When I was at home, I used to be at home and I just practice. Even with my hand, with no gun, I just practice going back and forth like this, because it creates muscle memory. Like even when I got shot and dude came out with a gun, the whole shooting was probably only 5 seconds. Literally, the shootout was probably 5 seconds. That's how fast stuff happens. That's how fast it will happen. So you got to be able to react and respond to the threat accordingly, you know what I'm saying? And because I trained myself and I trained my body to have muscle memory to pull my firearm out, I didn't have to think about it when he came around the corner with a gun. It was a reaction, you know what I'm saying? So I tell people all the time, just train. Don't carry a firearm, because you gotta be able to use it when the time comes. But yeah, YouTube, that was the story. That's basically what happened, man. Lil Zay he set me up, man, and I got shot, and you know, I ended up killing his homie in self-defense, and I'm not proud about it. It's not nothing I gloat on. You will never see me on the internet, like, you know, talking crazy or like, you know what I'm saying, I'm smoking this, I'm smoking that. Nah, I always been humble about it, because I never really wanted that to happen. Like, you know what I'm saying? I came to do a job that day. I came to shoot a video. I didn't come to kill nobody. I didn't come to shoot nobody. I had a gun on me for protection. You know what I'm saying? So, that's why I say, like, you know, I never wanted that to happen. But yeah, YouTube, that's the story. That's basically what happened, man. Let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think that's a crazy story? Y'all think, like, you know, what y'all would have did in that situation? Like, how would y'all would have reacted? Like, you think y'all would have been able to survive that? You know, because granted, even though I did have a firearm, I could have froze up. You know what I'm saying? I could have froze up in that situation and still got robbed. You know, but because I trained, I was ready. But YouTube, let me know what y'all think. Like, comment, and subscribe, please. Like, comment, and subscribe, because I'm gonna keep going with these story times. I want this place to really blow up, and let me know what y'all think in the comments.